Okay, we got our new project here. It's a Toro Snowblower 524, so I think that means it has a 5 horsepower engine and a 24-inch cut. I don't know anything about it other than that it turns over. And it feels like it's got some compression. Yeah, backstory on it. I got it from a guy for 50 bucks and he said last when he put it away it ran, and I don't know how long ago that was. And that was about it. The tires were flat. It looks like this one, oh, I did put air in the tires just so I could roll it. That one holds air. This one appears not to. Might put some slime in it, see if that seals it up. The augers are frozen to the shaft, but that's all we got. So I'm gonna move into snowblowers now for the next few videos. It's end of September here, so these things will start to increase in value. And so we might as well strike while the iron's hot. So yeah, I'm excited to get to this and to see if we can make something of it. So let's do that immediately. Let's start by seeing if there's even any oil in it. I don't see a dipstick anywhere. Yeah, it's got oil, and that'll work. It'll work just to test and see if it works. So happy with that for now. It's better than no oil, right? Let's check for spark. Okay, let's see what's happening here. Closing on very tight. And it doesn't look too bad. But will it spark? That is the question. There you go. You're looking here. Key to on. Yeah, it's sparking. Yeah, it sparks. It's not the greatest looking spark, but we'll try it. Cool. I guess next we'll dribble some gas down there and see if it wants to go. Well, we'll see. All right. I'm gonna try a different plug. Okay, I found a plug. It seems to spark a bit better, so hopefully that'll get us where we want to go. All right, that's not working. So what do we think? It's probably a spark thing. 2 volts there, and 2 there. And this whole thing comes off, it looks like.
Can I do it there?
Well, something's coming apart. All right, I'm gonna figure out how I want to take this apart, and I'll be right back. Okay, we'll start with the front cutter here. So that's 7/16? No, 3/8. There's a bolt on each side, holding that on. It wants to turn. There's another one on this side, more the same. And it also wants to turn. So far, we're doing good. And the belts will run. They're not new, but they're yeah, there's lots of adjustment left on them too. Now the bolts. I think they're 1/2 inch, the ones that are holding them down. So I'm gonna try and get these ones here. See if those will work. Yeah, they're spinning under it, so it's probably 1/2 inch under there. Yeah, 2 1/2 inches. Got it. And you do that 4 times. So if I run into anything interesting while I'm doing that, I'll turn the camera back on. Next we'll be just looking at the engine. Okay, so those bolts are gone. Next, it looks like we gotta get this tins off so we can get at the throttle and remove it from the blower there. Looks like a big old Robert screw. And 3/8 it looks like. We'll get us started. Use this down here. There you go. Yeah, sounds like. Yeah. Okay, we got our primer, our choke. Let's see if we can get that in. Oh yeah. There's our tin, here's our primer circuit. It is pumping. Look at the carb, it seems like it's a Tecumseh. Now I gotta get this throttle out. So it's gotta come off, which looks easy. So this gets unpinched. That should just come out like that. Okay. Throttle's good. There is probably a kill circuit of sorts here. One's a flat screw. A flat screw. And that looks like 3/8. See if it's metric or not. It's a real 3/8 this time. Okay. I think the only thing that's connecting us to the engine is the belt. And I should just be able to tip it forward and remove the belt. So let's do that. And I didn't need to test the tensile strength of any wires, which is great. All right, I'm gonna set this up on the table and we'll be able to get a better look at it. Okay, so we got her on the bench now, and I think the first thing we'll do is take a look at the coil. What is it, 1/2 inch? Yeah. I got 2 bolts on the underside here. 7/16 obv. Last one's right here. It's accompanied by this grounding block. And now we got a governor spring right here. So we'll take that off with pliers. And this should come off now. Did I miss any? No. Oh, I did. There's one here holding tins on, right there. It's a little guy. But here it is right here. Now you can see. 1/4 inch, get out of here. Is there any more hidden in there? I don't think so. Okay, let's do it yet. Because let's face it, we'll probably look at the valves and stuff too, so why not? So 2 more down here. loosened, it looks like. Okay. Now we're coming. All right. Plastic, eh? Huh. Recoil looks good. This thing is newer than I thought it would be. I thought it was like from the... I thought it was like from the 70s, but I don't think it is. See if the petcock works. It seems like it does. Okay, here we go, 11/16. And I dropped the washer. Okay, so we're talking pry bar and a hammer. All right. So we'll try it like this. Got a bit of pressure. Ah, beauty. So when I said it wasn't as old as, or yeah, it wasn't as old as I thought, I think I was incorrect. Because that looks pretty darn old. The plastic threw me off. Maybe it's some carter trying to save weight or something. I don't know. Okay, we got our key. It's still there. A little cover for the points. I'm hoping we just have to clean the points. So it still sparks. And I'm hoping that once we clean the points, it'll get a lot better. So let's see. This little bail, I guess. Yeah. The gasket looks fine. Okay. There's the can. There's a point, and they do look kind of goopy. Is there, what do I set them to? Let's see on here. Set points. You see that? Set points to 20 thou. I like to say 20 G's. Okay. Is it better to you? For you. A good view of my hand too. Okay. So they're closing. And they're opening. Okay, and that's like the top of their stroke there. So right there. Little arrow. Bang. So you take a screwdriver and there's a little slot to adjust from there. A thin screwdriver will do you good in this situation. Okay. Almost. Okay. Yeah, okay. Let's clean these beauties. They are disgusting. Let the points close on that paper, pull it out, and repeat. Open, paper, close, pull. Let's do that a few more times. Let's put it back together and pull on it a couple times. So reverse order. No. No spark. Oh. Let's open up again. I just took some sandpaper. I'm running them through. I'll hit it with some more contact cleaner. Maybe that'll help. But I don't see much corrosion back here. All right. See if that helps. Not yet. Not yet. What have I done? Oh no! Okay. Come on, man. You're rushing. Russian. Did I break anything? Probably. In it for the lulls, right? So I forgot to flip that bail back on the set of points before I put the flywheel back on. Luckily, I don't think any harm was done. Only my delicate ego. Well, fuck. Now that really hurt my delicate ego. Oh man, don't you love it? So we have a plan. I'm gonna grind this down to where the threads end. I'm going to drill it and we'll install a bolt, put a big washer on it, and that will act as our clamping force for this tapered shaft. Yeah, that's a lesson to everyone out there. Don't use an impact on these little crankshafts. They're not the big old Evinrudes I'm used to working on. So yeah, I just learned something, and hopefully you'll learn something too from my mistake and pain in the ass. So let's get to that. And we grind. Make sure you watch where your sparks are going, so then there's no flammables around, and that you have your safety specs on. So to keep the heat down, instead of grinding this till it's all flaming hot, I'm going to come in with a hacksaw, knock the bulk of the threads off, and then we'll grind it flat from there. Make sure you got your spectacles on when you do this. Safe it up. Gotta find something to act as a center punch. Okay, it's time for high school geometry here. I want to get the closest end as I can, so I'm going to use these calipers to do that. They're set at half the diameter of the shaft, and we'll see if we can scribe a line. That'll get us in the ballpark of the center. That actually looks pretty good. I don't know if you can see the scratches, but according to math, my center's right there, and that looks good. At the end of the day, the bolt, it doesn't do the holding, it does more of the clamping. So as long as I can get that 35 foot-pounds of torque, of clamping force, it'll be good. And I'll make sure I use an instrument to get that clamping force. Anyway, we still need to get there first, so Let's not get ahead of ourselves. And that's where we go. All right, the only way out of this is forward. So we're going in as straight as we can. Delicate business, easily avoided. Don't do what I did. Clamp on that. I just put something in there to provide some interference. But I really liked having the key as a guide. And we're back. Okay, we've hit the bottom of that. Now it's time to cut some threads. So I'm using a 5/16 by 18 thread pitch. And the drill bit I use, it was down a size than what was called for because since I'm freehanding it, 17/64. And it calls for I think 9/32. But since I'm freehanding it, I figured there'd be oscillation, so I want as much thread as I can get. So I kept it a size down, understanding my hand, as much as I tell people it is not a machine shop. The trick is just to not break this off in there. But it seems to be cutting okay. I doubt they're the depth I need yet. Gotta go in again. Okay, we have hit our depth. Cool. Well, I think we pulled that one out of the fire. All right, I'm gonna see if we need to add any more hardware to our flywheel configuration now. Okay, so, and the reason, I'm not making an excuse. The reason I went so hard with the impact gun was because whenever I take off the flywheel after impacting it on, after like a zap or two, it would just fall off. So I kept adding more and more torque to get it to clamp on harder and harder, when at the end of the day, I should have just cleaned the actual taper itself and it'll stick right on. So yeah, when you put on the tapers and you use like lubricant and stuff like that, you want to make sure your taper shafts are clean and they'll clamp better. So you can even like scuff it with emery pad or something. So I will eat that one. Well, I'm eating it right now. I have to do all this crap for no reason. Anyway, see how this works now. Okay, we got that, then we got the cup, the washer, and bolt. I gotta find some kind of spacer just so the cup is centered better. All right, let's see how this all goes together. Do you put this thing? Okay. So we have that now. To the 35 foot-pounds of force needs, we'll use as our finish. It's a click. It's a really weak click, but glad to be here. Okay, now I guess I should have checked if we still have spark before I went and did all that again, but we should be good. Are we sparkling? Yeah, you can hear it. This should run now. I guess we'll put the tins back on. And put it back on the machine. So let's do that. Okay, fresh gas. What's up? 7%. Come on. All right. So it ran for a couple seconds and died, but I'll try that one more time. I suppose it's running. And we just need to make it run well. Okay, so we'll take the carbs off and throw them in the ultrasonic. And I guess we'll look at the compression too. Maybe the valves need a lapping or something like that. Anyway, let's get at these carb aerator. I think it's 7/16. I got 2 bolts on this side. Fuel line, let's get rid of that. Not rid of it, but let's remove it. Let's get this access to another bolt. The fuel inlet's giving me a hard time. Most of the times you don't even need to take these apart, but like all the way, but it's so old. I think it's worth looking at. Well, that was a lot of finger loosening. So yeah, it's in this one. I'm just gonna put a little scratch. It's right here. Indicate somehow that was where it went. I have this on camera, so not hard to mess up, but I also put in a scratch. Okay, this guy can step aside. How's the intake look? The gasket looks good too. Step aside for a bit. Doesn't smell too nice. That looks okay. The bowl is not see-through. But it's pretty pitted. But it's not see-through. These jets, you got your main. These are adjustable, so this is the main jet.
That's your float. This, you want it not in the ultrasonic cleaner. You got this pin. Your needle and seat. Or your needle rather. And the seats in there. There is a idle adjustment here. Do I have a screwdriver that I gave? And that can come out. They get cleaned. It has a rubber bit on it. I am not going to put that in the cleaner, but I will put the carb in the cleaner. And then what we're going to do is we're going to put this in the ultrasonic. And then we're going to spray it all down with brake cleaner and blow out some jets and stuff. So let's do that. I got the carb back on, cleaned up without any drama. I hooked it back up the engine, got fresh gas in the tank and got it all hooked up. I'm now looking to see if it'll want to run off the tank, so let's give that a whirl. To kill it, I'm just gonna ground the wire here with a screwdriver. Right here, if things get out of control. Let's see how it goes. So it started. That's encouraging. Okay. Well, that's cool. My light unplugged when the wool work vibrated off the table, so knowing it runs, I think we could put it back on the snowblower. We'll probably look under the snowblower first, then put it back on. But that is great. And the fly wheel didn't come out and kill me, which is also great. I see the car is leaking a bit. Where's that leaking from? Anyway, turn the fuel off so that doesn't become a thing overnight. But yeah, a learning experience for everyone, I hope. I'm excited to get this project moving forward again. So now that we got the engine running, let's take a closer look at the body of this guy. Here's one thing I noticed, that the fella taped this in. I think this is just a safety switch that, I like that. There, I can open my hand now. I think this is just a safety switch that just grounds out. You can see right, can you see that? Yeah, you can see, you got a switch right there. So I'll have to clean up that contact point just so it operates as intended. And that wire looks okay. Maybe clean up this grounding point right here, but that's it. One thing I noticed down here, this is to the kill wire. I saw some tape, so I took off the tape and I see a splice there. So I'm going to use, I don't know, butt connectors or see what I got. Maybe I'll have to solder it or something, but not too big a deal. It looks like it just got pinched by something and the guy patched it. But let's, yeah, that's all frozen. I'll need torches for that, but I know where I can get some. So let's flip the bucket up, or flip this on the bucket, and we'll take a look at all the things underneath that we can't see. Yeah, it's not going anywhere. Guess I'll take that off. Okay, let's look under the handlebars, or the controls. I thought there'd be a cutting edge on this, but it looks like there isn't. These shoes look okay. They've been re-welded, but those will hold up for now. I like the rods. So much better than cables with snowblowers, because all you do is spray salty water at them all day long. So let's see here. Got this switch. That sounds good. That's just throttle. Here's our key. We'll have to, but all the wiring seems pretty good. Yeah, here's that safety wire there. Okay. And yeah, there's this splice right here. I'll have to get to that. I guess next we'll remove this cover there and see what we got in the guts. So it's 3/8. Okay, let's take a look. Well, okay, that needs cleaning up. Can you see? No, you can't. Oh, we're going upside down there. Okay, that will need cleaning up. The disc, the rubber, what do you call it, friction, this one, that's got lots of life in it still. The gears and chains look good. I see a little, maybe it's an optical illusion. I think I see a little bow in that, but I think that'll be okay. I could just be looking at it funny. And I guess we'll hit this. I don't have a wire wheel or anything. I'm gonna have to do it the old-fashioned way with a brush and make sure that's good and dry. The chains look good. The gears look good. It won't need much of anything under here, which is nice. One of these got this bolt loose here. It's sticking out. I'll have to tighten that up. Can you see that? Yeah, that guy there. That's sticking out. On this side too. So we'll see if that means anything, but we'll just have to twist that down. And I think that'll be it. Then we'll just, so we got some wires to splice, some wheels to clean, and some bolts to tighten. And I think we should be okay. quick wipe now. So this is just that isopropyl alcohol again. This will just dry it nice and quick. Just get all that rubber dust off. Because you don't want this getting greasy, or it could slip on the rubber a bit. You got it nice dry, nice and dry. Okay. Let's try tightening these bolts. Yeah. Okay. No, that's the... Look, there's supposed to be a spacer or something in there. It's not loose, it's tight. So I'm gonna leave that like that. They both have a little bit of standoff to them. Okay. Hey, it rolls easier now. Probably crank them a little bit tight. Awesome. We'll splice our wires in situ. Okay, so we have our offending wire right here. I'm gonna cut that and splice it together. I'm gonna use solder and heat shrink to do that. So that's what we'll do. All right, let's try that. Maybe we'll go in there with a shop knife. Those are some old crunchy wires. Just hit these with some new can of brake cleaner. Love it. Okay, next we will be soldering. Correction. Next we're putting on our heat shrink so we don't have to get clever. So yeah, always preload your heat shrinks on before you solder your connections, or it's not going on. So I'm sure a lot of you old pros will be, I don't know, I'm probably doing something wrong with this. I like to mechanically get these together any way, shape, or form, add my glob of solder, and call it a day. We'll see if this will hold. Okay.
that would happen. But we got one. And we got our heat shrink on it too, which is really, really important. Two. I just need a lighter. Great. And just for that old school looking feel. Let's just give it a little wrap. Because there's a snowblower from the 70s, a snowblower from the 70s if there's not lots of black tape on it. That's the question. Was there anything else? The ground. We got a ground here. I just want to clean up. That was pretty good. Just coming at these with a bit of sandpaper. And a delightful smear of dielectric grease. This hole here, I think that's to operate cables. They just use the same style clamp or handle, so I don't think that's something that hooked up to anything before. I think it's just cost savings. And we'll hit this panel with some sandpaper too. And then we should be good for all things grounding points. And we'll do the same to this screw. Where it terminates, that's right here. Yeah, I'm sure it was all fine. But the one you don't check is the one that's corroded to into another dimension. And you're chasing grounds, which we all love to do, I'm sure. All right, we're gonna put this back up as it should go, and we'll put the engine back on and give the engine a proper test fire. Haven't still decided if I want to do like valves or anything on it yet. We'll see how it runs and how it sounds, then we'll do that. I'm just gonna put this belly pan back on. Okay, so something I noticed when I was putting it back together, before I put it back in, I think that this pulley here is forward and this one's reverse, and it just depends which way you throw the lever is which it's contacting, because there's no opposite side for this wheel to turn to, so it has to be forward, reverse, or whichever configuration it is. So I'm gonna have to clean up this. All right, we'll let that dry, or we're not gonna let it dry, we're just gonna put it all back together. Does this matter? No. That's a little more red. Okay, you can see that okay. We'll just give that the old once more before I put the engine on, because it's the right thing to do. I'm gonna pressure wash this, but might as well get these bits down here, because I won't be able to when the engine's on it. Alright, not the Taj Mahal. Let's move on. And we all remember this. So okay, there's one. That's 2. We can keep it all together.
My camera died just as I said huzzah when the engine slid into place. So we're gonna get those bolts on. We're gonna bolt it all down and start it with these belts on and see how it all goes. And we do the same on the other side. All right, we're off to the races now. Very slowly. This is painful to watch, it's just as painful to execute, just so you know. Okay. And we'll do that 2 more times on the other side. I think I got you in at a good angle for our next series of steps there, so we are going to hook up this block, and I think it goes like this. That goes the handle and the key and all the safety features there. And because it only works when the circuit's open, this should probably hook up to that one, I think. And there's not that big of a gap between these 2 terminals, so I'm assuming they're close together. I don't think it was hooked up when we took it apart. I'm probably wrong, but okay, so there's that. And this one, I think hooks up here to that. Little sandpaper scuff, a bit of grease, electrolytic variety. I found a suitable fastener for this, so we're putting this on. Okay, so now it should have spark. I get the throttle.
hit the linkage with the stuff. I gotta make sure I catch it so it hits all its travel. So that's totally down. May have to adjust it, and that's where it was before. I can tell about the shininess of the metal. Yep. That's good. Okay, so we're throttling. Let's see if we're sparking, and we can turn it off when we want to. And if we can do all those things, we'll try the motor out and then put the last bit of tin on it. Let's see how this goes. So right now it's in neutral. I get a look here, it's even nice and dark for you, so you can see the spark. So you're looking right there. Okay, it's off right now. Keys and off. No spark. Key and on, neutral. We got spark. I bet you if I put it in gear, we should lose our spark. Yep. But if I put it in gear and hold this switch, we should get it back. Yeah, okay. I think that's all, and there's the auger on, and the same safety switch probably applies. Yeah, okay. All right, our switches work, our key works. Let's see if it wants to run. I hope you saw the sparking. Okay, got to point it in a safe direction in case, you know, in case we end up throwing something where it runs away. Fuel to on. We're in neutral. Okay. Default. Does this gotta be plugged? The primer circuit?
off choke. It doesn't want to rev high without backfiring. So that means it's lean.
Okay, so I got it to idle properly. One thing I noticed is when it goes into high, if you watch the governor lever there, it'll get bound up. I think I gotta make the brake a bit. It seems like it's switching to high speed, it starts to bog down. So I'm gonna mess with the governor. It's nothing we can really do on. Or maybe it is. I'll show you what I do without the pressure of the camera on me. All right, I straightened out this governor, not the arm, but the actuator, the rod there. See how that doesn't move. One turn now. Back and slow. I'm going to back off the screw that controls the governor arm. See if that helps at all. I put the main to 1.5. I think. So after all kinds of fiddling, I probably just have to pull the head, and we'll see if the valves are culpable. So we're gonna do that right away. I think I can do it while it's in here, in the machine there. So that's what we're gonna do. I guess we'll drain the fuel. I'm gonna drain the fuel, remove the tins, and I'll get back once we're down to the head. Okay, so I'm just about to get to the head there. And I wanna look at the valves. Is it enough? Okay, the gasket looks fine. The valves look a little sooty. And the head looks okay as well. The gasket's fine. So there's not much play in there at all. Okay, let's take it to they're not spinning. So these aren't spinning, so that's good. How's the bore look? The bore looks good. You take my word for it. There's nothing that'll catch a nail. The valves are tight. That one too. Maybe they just need to be reseated. No, they're seating well. I guess I could lap them while I got it apart. Wouldn't hurt anyone, I guess. So that's what we'll do. So let's take off the carb and the exhaust and we'll get at the valves. Let's do that. See, this wants to play. Alright, there's one. And this guy. Two. Okay, manifold's good. Or intake manifold's good. That's coming off. Now the exhaust, how's this gonna play? What do we think? Yeah, it's turning. And that's turning.
Yeah, the breather, is that what it's supposed to look like? I don't know. I don't know how with these old things, should there be another cover on it? Looks pretty yucky. Not to be more persuasive. Yeah, that's exactly it. I think I do this with wrenches. Okay, we got the valves exposed. And I'll need to make a gasket. There's our gasket. So those are your valves. And what we want to do is we want to lap this so they seal better. I'm suspecting maybe they're not sealing right and letting the compression leak through, but I'm interested to see. And we gotta check the clearance. Just gonna do that right away. I think I remember they're supposed to be between like 9 and 10 or something. 9 and 11 or... That one's at 10. It's the intake. And the exhaust is probably at like 8. Yeah, the exhaust is at about 8. I'll have to look up to see if that's legit, but at least there's clearance right now. But we want to lap those in and make sure they're sealing up well. So, to do that, you have to remove them from the keeper. And I haven't done this in a while. Gotta get them over this detent. Yeah, there's one. I think. There. We got one away from the keeper. And yeah, I don't think that was, oh, maybe it was sealing. That looks pretty good. You can see the bead around it where it was sealing. Let's get the other. I don't know. I'm gonna clean them up and I'm gonna lap them in, and we'll see if that helps things. Give me a minute. Push out the door. So I cleaned her up on the, well, I said wire wheel, I meant wire brush. I don't have a wire wheel. But now we are going to lap this guy. First, I'm going to make sure the push rods are down. So that, this is the exhaust valve. So I made sure the exhaust push rod's down. You put a bead of this valve compound on the bottom edge, like so. That's the stuff I'm using, valve grinding compound, and you get yourself one of those. And you don't need to do this forever. Just go with your hands. You hear the compound kind of stop cutting and then you lift it.
and let's start cutting again. That's been known to happen. Now we take a look and we'll see, we'll wipe that off and see how it looks. So you see here, I got that nice clean looking metal edge all around. That means it's, for the valve, it's cut okay. Let's check out inside the engine or in the block. And it's cut itself a nice seat. I'll give you a look at that. So we're looking at that nice shiny band all around. So that's good for the exhaust valve. Now, when you cut some metal out of the block and the valve, you'll inevitably change the clearance. So I'm gonna have to grind this down a bit. Where are we at here? I have to grind that stem down a bit to make sure I hit the right clearance, but I won't do that just yet. I'll get the exhaust valve, or the intake valve, next. Give you a nice close-up shot of for the exhaust valve. So we take our stuff, and we take the plunger, make sure it's down. That's probably enough. So that looks good. And we got ourselves a good looking seat cut out there too. So what you also want to do is make sure you get that valve grinding stuff out of there, because you don't want it to cut into your stems. That's brake cleaner. Okay, so I just looked it up and both valves have the same clearance, where the minimum is 0.4 thou and the maximum is 10 thou. We'll try and aim for, well, if it's in the tolerance, I'll take it, but I'll start with 6. No, 7. I'm gonna say it's 8. 9. That's it. So it's over 10. So I'm gonna keep lapping that one. Yeah, it's like right at 10. Huh. Okay. Okay, that's at about 8. Okay, so exhaust is good. This one is big. The clearance is too much, so I'm gonna lap it. I can shade a couple thou off that. So that's what we're gonna do. Okay, I got it down to 9. You know what? I'll take 9. It's in there. Maybe those will seal better. Not let any compression through. I don't know if they were before or not. I think they were probably pretty good before. It's probably carburation, but it's good that we know that the valves are at least in reasonably good shape. Okay, so let's put those back on. This is the tricky part. So the intake and exhaust valve is different, or spring is different. There's a big hole in this one, and that goes on the exhaust side. So what you want to do is first get your spring in to where it's got to go. You got to get, the way it works is the valve goes through. It goes through this bit too, and then you push it in and it locks in. And then the spring tension holds it all together. So what I like to do is I like to have the big bit where the valve goes through, I like that facing in, so that way you can put your wrench under it and kind of just dump it on the stem once you get it lifted up. You'll see what I mean in a second. Famous last words, in a second, yeah, right. Okay. There's a tool for this. I've never cared to use the tool for it. I don't think you need it. I don't do this enough to warrant buying a special tool. Let's try with the 3/8. So I got the top of the valve spring where it's got to be, and the challenge I find is getting the guide right, or getting the spring and it all to work together. We can try, right? So I got my wrench under it now. You probably can't see, I'm going in with the going forward. Where's you? I got that now. That was probably a terrible demonstration. Probably didn't see much, but that one's installed. There's YouTube videos on how to do it. And we're not spinning. And now we're spinning. So that valve's healthier now. We know that. Okay, we're gonna do the same thing to this one. So remember, the big end pointing in, and then we start wrestling.
Oh, that was a production. But we have 2 valves where they gotta be. I could probably just RTV these with the understanding it won't be coming apart again for a long time. This one can get the copper stuff, and this gasket is still good. We're putting it back together. And this went on like this. Yes. Like this. Okay, exhaust. I know everyone's screaming at me, don't use that shit on your... This is made for exhaust. The engine's like 1,000,000 years old. This exhaust sucks anyway. A generous bead. God. Okay, got a bit of squeeze out, squeezing out. No clearance issues with the head gasket or the head manifold, air intake manifold. There we go. First, this on the governor. Little throttle bar there, and angle that on. And you can't help but wonder if what we all just went through even did anything. We'll soon find out. I just got it all apart without breaking any bolts off the manifold. And the exhaust. Alright, we'll figure it out tomorrow. That was fun. Okay, so after all the fiddling I did with this, I think I finally solved the issue. I got one of these off Amazon for about 17 bucks. Yeah, I don't know, the thing's so old. I did have it running well once for about 5 minutes, and it just went right back to its running crappily again. So I'm gonna see if putting this on will make it run any better. We'll have to modify the choke lever to suit this, but that shouldn't be too tricky. Yeah, kind of annoyed that I'm giving up on this, but if this just bolts on and it works great, that'll be fantastic. So let's put this guy on, see how it all goes. Turn. Maybe the flywheel sheared. I'm gonna check. Okay, so I just can't get this to run right. I'm gonna take a look at the points again. I thought it was the carburetor, so I even went and got a new one of those cheap clones, and the exact same thing happened. So pretty convinced it wasn't the carb. I had it running very well, very briefly, but it wasn't meant to be. It went right back to its old way. So I think it was probably something to do with timing. So I tried, since you last saw, I tried setting them at these 2 hash marks, which was way off. So it didn't even spark after that. But now we're gonna try from another point. And then I'm gonna center this, because I see some witness marks from the center, and this whole thing is clocked this way. So I'm gonna loosen those off, put it back where I think it should have been, set the points back to the highest spot on the cam, and then we'll see if that helps any. I hope so, because when this thing was running, even for those brief couple minutes, it sounded really good. It's a shame I didn't get it on tape. But anyway. So. I think that's it. Closed, open. Close again. So yeah, right there looks like the highest spot. Right at this, there's a little triangle right there. So that's where I'll set them again. Yeah, that's good. Okay, now we'll put this back where it's gotta go. If this doesn't work, I'm gonna do what the book says and use a dial indicator to find 80, valve 4, top dead center, and all that nonsense, but we'll see how it goes. Okay, so backing these off a bit.
Yeah, there's totally marks there from before. I feel it even just kind of like slide in where it was before. Okay, those marks are probably when they open. And it looks pretty close. Okay, I'll go with that. I'm saying it'll run now. All right, stand by. We're all back together. I kept the new carb on it just because I want to see the thing run. If it runs well, I'm going to put the old carb back on because that's original. If it runs well, the old carb's probably good. Now it's just chasing my tail. So let us see if this wants to run. I don't know. I can't even give it a percentage. I've really gone through all the things with this. Ignition time. It's a real thing. Let's see if the auger wants to turn. Okay, I have the old carburetor hooked up, so let's see how it wants to run. Oh, turn the gas on. Well, I'll put the air warmer back on it, and then next we're going to look at the auger and see what we can do about those. So off the bat, that's not good. You can see there's a couple, yeah, you can see that. You got a grade 5 bolt in there as a shear pin, and another one, I just had it. And another one in there. So we're going to remove those. Hopefully it's not even seized. I think it's seized, so the whole thing's moving. But maybe those bolts are really tight fits. We're gonna find it. Okay, I got an 8-point on it right now. I'm gonna hit it from the bottom, making sure I'm turning the nut, not the bolt, in case these get a little seizy. Hey, it's not seized. That is amazing. Still want to change the shear pin for real shear pins though, but that's really wonderful. Cool. Let's do the same to the other side. You got these windows here. You just get at them from each side. I find an 8-point socket works best. It just gives you more, what do you say, range of, not range of motion, but range, maybe.
That one's not seized either. And we're 2 grade 5 bolts richer. I guess we'll, what is it, like 90 weight that would go in there? I bet you, yeah, that'll work. So now we're gonna change this gear oil out or fill it up. It's a square nut on there, or bolt, a square nut. So I'm gonna use the 3/8 end of that to take it off. Or you could use an 8-point if you got it. Well, there's oil in it. Yeah, that looks fine. Looks 80 weight. That's not going anywhere. So we need 2 shear pins. I don't know if we can shoot any kind of anything in there. Be nice if it was a grease fitting. Because something's better than nothing, I guess. And this auger's nice and tight too, that's good. Yeah. There's a bearing in there that'll sometimes be pretty wonky. Is this like a continuous pressure on the cutting edge? Well, that's pretty clever. So here, so this cutting edge, it's on a spring, so it'll bounce with the machine there as if it hits anything, and kind of adjust and self level, I guess. So it's scraping the pavement constantly, or you can tighten it down if you want to raise it up. Can't say I've seen that. That's neat. I'm gonna have to do the tire end of the day. I don't want to bring this out and then I want to drag this out to the driveway just to fill up the tire. The only compressor I got is the one you plug into a cigarette lighter. But right now, that's not bad. What did we do? We made a bunch of mistakes. We snapped the flywheel, the crankshaft nut off. We bought a carburetor because we misdiagnosed something. We unseized the auger. And we learned lots on the way. All right, I just ran it for a while. Let's change this oil. It's pretty dark. But I don't see any metal in there. Doesn't smell like gas. What's the oil capacity? Is it like 400 milliliters or 21 ounces? Here we go. It's about 600 mils or 21 ounces. Say 2. I guess you just fill it up to the threads. That would have been an easier way to describe it. So I took off that tire. They both came off actually undramatically, and I couldn't find the leak. Maybe it seated itself, I don't know. So I filled it back up to about 15 PSI, and now this thing's got a date with the pressure washer, and we'll get there hopefully under our own power. So more on that. All right, let's give this a whirl. I'm just using soapy water and then a pressure washer. Should be the first person for this. Some action shots. Right. All right, I'm gonna start it, let it get warm and dry itself off, and then hit it with some fluid film. That's all dry now. I'm just gonna give it a little blast of fluid film. One last thing I noticed before I wheeled it away, the handlebars are a little racked. So I think I'm gonna pull up on this one and hopefully that'll straighten it all out. So let's do that as a final hurrah. Maybe I just loosen this. I should be able to pull up on that and tighten it down. That's better. All right. Okay, I think we're done here. All we got to do is replace one auger bolt that I had to order. It wasn't. I only had one that would fit, so yeah, it's nice and straight now. But yeah, that was a good challenge to work on this. I learned a lot along the way, and that'll be all the stuff I learned will be helpful for when I get into that guy there, a big old beast. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed all that, and appreciate you watching. Thanks.